Somewhere between a dark romance novel, a TikTok edit, and the sound of a motorcycle engine at midnight, the internet found its newest obsession. If you've been online recently, you've probably seen it. BookTok girls absolutely losing their minds over bikers. Not just liking them, not just thinking the bikes are cool. I'm talking full cinematic fantasy. Helmet edits, POV rides, comment sections that look like someone dropped a motorcycle into a romance novel. For context, BookTok girls are basically the side of TikTok obsessed with books, especially romance, fantasy, dark romance, and fictional men who are always mysterious, intense, emotionally damaged, but somehow still perfect. But now, somehow, bikers have become the real-life version of that fantasy. But why? Why did motorcycles, helmets, and leather jackets become the internet's newest fictional boyfriend aesthetic? First, we need to understand what a BookTok girl actually is. BookTok is the reading community on TikTok. It's where people recommend books, react to plot twists, cry over fictional characters, and convince thousands of strangers to read a 600-page fantasy romance because the slow burn is worth it. But when people say BookTok girl, they're usually talking about a very specific internet stereotype. Someone who reads romance books, especially ones with dramatic love interests. The kind of characters who are dark, brooding, dangerous, protective, emotionally unavailable, but somehow deeply loyal once they fall in love. Basically, the guy is never just nice. He has to have trauma, a secret past, a weapon, a motorcycle, or all of the above. And that's important because BookTok girls are not just reacting to random men online. They're constantly comparing real people to fictional archetypes. So when a biker shows up on their For You page, wearing all black with a helmet on, riding through the city at night, BookTok doesn't just see a guy on a bike. They see a character introduction. This is where BookTok and BikerTok collide. BikerTok already had its own aesthetic. It had the helmets, the gloves, the dark roads, the POV rides, the engine sounds, the streetlights, the mystery. BookTok already had the fantasy. It had the emotionally intense romance tropes, the dangerous love interest, the protective boyfriend, the forbidden attraction, the he only has a soft spot for her storyline. So when these two sides of TikTok crossed over, it made perfect sense. Bikers looked like the characters BookTok girls were already reading about. They had the visual language, black clothes, hidden faces, quiet confidence, danger, speed, and mystery. And because so many biker videos are filmed like movie scenes, it was almost too easy for BookTok to project a romance plot onto them. The obsession didn't come out of nowhere. BookTok had already created the fantasy. BikerTok just gave it a body, a bike, and a helmet. One of the biggest reasons bikers fit so perfectly into BookTok culture is because of the morally gray effect. If you don't know what morally gray means, it's basically a character who isn't purely good, but isn't fully evil either. He breaks rules, he has a dark past, he is probably dangerous, he might be cold to everyone else, but when it comes to the main character, he becomes protective, loyal, and intense. And bikers visually match that trope almost too perfectly. The bike says freedom, the speed says danger, the helmet says mystery. The all-black outfit says, I definitely have emotional problems, but in a cool way. The helmet is especially important because it hides the person's face. And when you hide someone's face, people start filling in the blanks. They imagine the voice, they imagine the face, they imagine the personality, they imagine the entire relationship arc. That's why a faceless biker can get thousands of comments from people acting like he's the main character of a romance series. The less you know, the more you can imagine. And BookTok is really, really good at imagining. Another huge reason this trend works is because of POV content. POV videos are basically designed to make the viewer feel like they're inside the story. POV, your biker boyfriend picks you up after a bad day. POV, he sees you walking alone and slows down.
These are not just motorcycle videos anymore. They're tiny romance scenes, and the viewer becomes the main character. That's why the comments get so intense. People aren't just watching a random person ride a motorcycle, they're placing themselves into the scene. They're imagining what happens before the clip. They're imagining what happens after the clip. They're turning a 10-second TikTok into a full romance plot. This is basically fan fiction in video form. The biker gives the audience just enough: the sound, the bike, the helmet, the mood, and then the viewer fills in everything else. That's why this kind of content is so powerful. It doesn't explain too much, it leaves space for fantasy, and that space is where BookTok lives. But there's another layer to this: danger. A lot of romance media is built around the idea of safe danger. People like stories that feel intense, risky, and dramatic, but they want to experience that danger from a safe distance. That's why dark romance, fantasy wars, mafia stories, vampire boyfriends, and morally gray love interests are so popular. The danger is exciting because it's controlled, it's fictional, it's aesthetic. And bikers fit into that perfectly.
And let's be honest, BookTok knows exactly what it's doing. These creators are not accidentally posting the most BookTok-coded videos imaginable. They know the angles, they know the lighting, they know the captions, they know the music, they know the slow-motion glove adjustment is going to send the comment section into chaos. Some of these videos are basically character auditions. It's not just, here's my motorcycle, it's, here's me in all black under a streetlight with cinematic audio handing the camera a helmet like this is chapter 1 of a forbidden romance. And once BookTok started reacting, the algorithm noticed. Girls commented, creators posted more, those videos got more engagement, more biker edits showed up on people's feeds, more BookTok girls started reacting, and suddenly it became a loop. BookTok created demand, BikerTok supplied the fantasy, the algorithm connected the two. That's why this trend keeps growing. It's not just attraction, it's content strategy. The biker aesthetic performs well because it gives people a character, a fantasy, and a story in under 15 seconds. So enjoy the biker edits, enjoy the BookTok jokes, enjoy the dramatic comments. Just remember, the version people are obsessed with is not always the real biker. It's the character the internet built around him. So why are BookTok girls obsessed with bikers? Because bikers look like the real-life version of the fictional men they already love. They represent mystery, danger, freedom, confidence, and romance all packed into a helmeted, cinematic aesthetic. BookTok had the fantasy, BikerTok gave it an engine, and the internet did the rest.